Hiya guys, we've just finished our cupboards. The overhead cupboards are now finished. We've got the pop locks on there and
anti-slip
mats in there. We decided not to put anything in the backs of the cupboards, and they're fastened on a rail here and up here.
So you have maximum space now.
Yeah, we wanted to maximise the space on the back. So yeah, we're very happy with the way they look, and these are my favourites. I like these. These overhead cupboards are for storing clothes and t-shirts, maybe some DVDs and things. And we have the TV stand on the front, and we've driven with the TV on there without any problem at all. Seems to be quite sturdy, quite safe. And then the last piece, the piece of resistance, is the microwave is in here, and it runs off an inverter. Happy days. And then the last one is our little cubby hole, which we can store
whatever,
all of our things in there, porridge or whatever we want in there.
And this is my favourite.
Yeah, that's her favourite, not mine. She puts flowers in there. I want to throw keys or something in there, but
it can be moved and you can put keys in here.
Yeah, it's just to make it look pretty. But yeah, it's coming along. And then after that, we've got the cupboards on the bottom to do, which we're still on work in progress, which is possibly why it looks like a bit of a building site in here.
Yes. After then is kitchen, and then bench over here, drawers in the corner.
Yeah, we're almost there. From experience of doing things wrong, we're now starting to learn slowly. Fool me twice, fool me 3 times, fool me 10 times. That's usually me, but we're trying to learn. So what we're doing now is, because we got the metal and the wood and that exposed here, we didn't batten in the van too much. We tried to keep it all as small as possible because we were thinking we're just going to carpet it. But then now we need to put the overhead cupboards in, and we need to know where they're going so they don't fall off the wall and they're not held on with gaffer tape. So we're going to have the, we're thinking it's going to end here on that line, and then we want it going down to roughly about 69.
That's actually perfect, isn't it?
At the moment we're just building the cupboard for the microwave, so the microwave's going in on this side, and this is just going to be a very small cubby hole on the corner of the microwave just to put stuff in. Welcome to my professional carpentry workshop. As you can see, it's kitted out with the latest and greatest. The frame for the cupboard was assembled using 2x1 timber, which was purchased from B&Q's. Here you can see I assembled the frame and then placed it up onto the side and screwed it in. That's pretty much it for the frame. It was that simple. So this is our first template we've made out of some, it's not van pimps, it's cupboard pimps. But I'm going to pimp my cupboard with it here, and that's the finished product. We're just going to staple those up and be done with it. I can't be bothered to do the wood. Yeah, so pimp my cupboard. Just made a template because nothing's square and it is a real pain, and you'll see all the bits of card. It took 2 attempts to make this template. I made it perfectly the first time, and then my wife absolutely butchered it as always, and now I've remade it because I'm perfect.
Sounds like you need a new wife.
One with better skills possibly.
Okay, DIA skill.
Well, just better skills in life. Generally, everything better skills.
Shut up.
So. After we created the template, we used that to cut out a piece of wood matching the template. This is considerably easier than trying to scribe in a larger piece of wood. The finished piece of wood just slides in perfectly first time. We repeat the process twice, once for the other end and then once for the middle separator. These are put into the cupboard, fastened in, and then the entire unit is painted, ready to go up on the wall. We're now on our second cupboard. The first one was a little bit of a bodge up, and we're learning via doing. So the first one, we had like some of the cuts were a couple of like a millimetre off, and then that little millimetre gap makes all the difference that you see them in there. So what I'm going to do now is I've cut all of my lengths a little bit longer than I needed to, and then I've used a piece of wood to butt up to the end of them to make sure they're all in there, fasten them in. Now I'm going to, so hopefully now all four of those are going to be the exact same size, which makes life easier. Now we're fixing the frames for our overhead cupboards, which are over the bed. These are lightweight cupboards that don't have any doors on them, and are going to be wrapped in carpet.
Don't you need to use water?
Nope. And this is Mrs. Flack's fantastic work on the overhead cabinets. The problem that she hasn't actually realised, if I decide to put something in these cabinets, it just drops through. She hasn't designed them right. And I just stabbed myself in the foot with a pair of scissors by doing that. Don't throw scissors while wearing sandals. The carpet was attached on both sides, so we wrapped it from the top to the bottom, which is the reason we put the bottom on last. We find that the glue gets everywhere, but it's quite easy to clean up with a dash of white spirit. After the clean-up, we went back to wrapping the carpet into the cupboards. Here we have the cupboard on the opposite side. The first thing we did was just cover the wall to stop any glue from getting on the wall that shouldn't be there. The next thing we did was we put the carpet onto the base of the cupboard on the inside. This was wrapped around into the top and then over the cupboard, as you can see. Each pole was then wrapped, and then the top of the cupboard was then carpeted. This process sounds quite simple, but it's very time consuming and takes quite a lot of effort. I personally feel it is well worth it.
It's elastic, so.
If you watch this far, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's not going to go in there, is it?
It will go. It's a little bit force. That's it. That's it. Don't do it too heavy now.
So we've just fitted our frame for our biggest cupboard going in. It doesn't look to be perfectly square, but it's almost impossible to get looking square, and nothing in the van is square, so it's done by eye. because you can't use a level on anything because the van's not flat, so it's parked on a hill. So yeah, we've put on our biggest shelf. What we're doing is I'm scribing in the end using a piece of cardboard. The reason for this is because I want to do the end piece first in order to then measure up the curtain rail, because we've been talking about the curtain rail and we just bought curtain rail. And the curtain rail we wanted a really small curtain rail, but then the brackets have to go in the corners, and there's nothing to fit the brackets to the corners on. So what I was thinking of doing is fitting the bracket the opposite way around on the end of the shelf, and we've positioned the shelf in the right place, so then we can mount it to the back of the shelf rather than the van. Right, the weather is absolutely terrible, just like my carpentry skills. But I will actually say that trying to build these overhead cupboards has got to be by far the worst part of building the camper van. This has been harder than anything, and that's including the underslung gas tank, the underslung tanks, tapping into the fuel tank, all the things that I thought would be really hard. It's the overhead cupboards. But we've got old school hinges which have got no forgiving in them at all, and then we bought the push button connectors which are going to be exact, and we can't measure them. I don't know how we're meant to measure where these go on the door in order to sit there behind the door. I'm having trouble doing that, but we're obviously just not very good. But yeah, the overhead cupboards has just been a bit of a pain. That is very negative. The good news is we're getting close to finishing them. That's why we're videoing it. So we have these catches that sit through like this. They pop in and out. The trouble with these catches is I thought they were a very good idea, but they're incredibly hard to get right, because they've got to sit like that, but then the wood's not thick enough for them to screw into, so we need to put them on a piece of wood at the back as well. So we're going to measure the distance from there to there, which would give us the distance from there to there, I guess.
That is the hardest part, isn't it? Get it right.
And then we have to get it right. 18, so that's 9, isn't it, in the middle? So I should explain that on the back here we took the lazy approach, which has worked out really well for us. Behind here is insulation block, and then on top of that we just put the carpet directly over the top of it rather than putting the wood on, and it's worked out quite well for us because it gives us a little bit of extra space rather than pushing it all forwards with well, that's an exaggeration, pushing it all forwards to here. I like having it a little bit bigger at the back.
Yeah.
A good workman always blames his tools, of course, but in this case my wife wouldn't let me buy the tools, so I'm going to blame her.
What?
I wanted to buy a workshop, but she wouldn't let me, said it costs too much. So in our limited garage and not our Uber workshop, we are trying to build cabinets to look like this. This has not been painted up properly yet. Right, so what we're doing is we're using MDF cut into square bits, or not square in our cases, and then we are framing them. We've pre-cut the holes for the locks because they were such a pain that we didn't want to have to fit the locks after we spent 3 days prepping the doors. So what this door is going to look like is we're going to put this cheap
We got
£6-ish. Well, it's not cheap. It's
650.
yeah, it's
for one.
quite expensive for what it is, but it's not that expensive when you think. And that's going to frame the door to make it look better. And then we'll paint the whole thing, fill and paint it, and it's going to look a bit like this. But then this has only had the first coat of paint on it. I'll show you how we do it. Tape measure.
Yeah.
All you do. We simply cut the wood at a 45-degree angle in order to frame the door itself. The reason for doing this is the doors were cut using a jigsaw, so they're not perfectly straight on the cuts. So the frame itself will disguise that, and it removes any of the imperfections. We can then just filler and paint over, obviously sand them once done. Because I didn't have all the desired clamps, I just simply used the baked bean tower in order to hold them down and glue. If there's any minor imperfections, it didn't matter too much because they'd be filled and sanded again, so any little bits where they haven't been stuck down strongly, that gets covered up. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Buy me a coffee. Buy me a Ferrari again. Buy me a new van. And yeah, no, don't ask for much, but at least like and subscribe.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you again for watching.